Nintendo has made it very clear that they won't be releasing a new Switch console in any way, shape, or form in 2020. But can we really trust them? Well, apparently not, because a new leak may have revealed Nintendo's plans, which might actually involve a new Switch console being released later this year. It might sound crazy, but according to reverse engineer and InfoSec enthusiast Mike Heskin, the Nintendo Switch's 10.0.0 firmware update has spilt the beans and let the entire world know about a new Switch console and an interesting feature it might include. This update is one of the best we've seen for the Switch, as we're now allowed to fully remap all of the buttons on the console, which is something we've wanted since launch. While most of us got excited for full button remapping and some other accessibility features, others like Heskin dug deeper into the files and noticed that the 10.0.0 update added preliminary support for a new hardware model known as NXABCD. He also noted that there's evidence of a secondary display being added exclusively for that Switch model. Now, the code name for the Nintendo Switch Lite is NXABCB, which is just a little different from the one Heskin mentioned, which has us thinking that this could definitely be legit. The thing is, this isn't going to be a brand new revolutionary console from Nintendo. We don't expect to somehow get a Nintendo Switch capable of ray tracing and 8K visuals at 120 frames per second. We also highly doubt you guys are expecting that either. If we had to guess, we'd think that this new Switch is just a beefier version of the Nintendo Switch Lite. We saw Nintendo give the Switch a bit of a refresh last summer, so it wouldn't shock us for them to do the same thing for the Switch Lite and give this new console a Tegra X1 Plus processor. But the idea that there might be a second screen with this new Nintendo Switch has us thinking there's going to be something more than just a new processor in this upcoming console. If this leak is true, then maybe we'll be getting an entirely new type of Nintendo Switch console, one that isn't quite as versatile as the regular Nintendo Switch and not quite as limited as the Switch Lite, a mid-tier level Switch if you will. The issue is trying to figure out exactly what this second screen could be. Heskin doesn't have any additional information about the screen, which has us thinking that it could be a few different things. Are we getting some sort of clamshell design for this new Switch with two screens like a 3DS, or is it going to be something like the Wii U and its gamepad? Okay, we seriously doubted something like the Wii U gamepad situation because that would just make absolutely no sense for Nintendo. The Switch perfected everything the Wii U brought to the table, and the Wii U was an absolute flop of a console, so Nintendo is not going to take a step backwards for no reason at all. Which means we may be getting a Nintendo Switch DS. If you're wondering how a Nintendo Switch DS could work, just think of the original DS and 3DS. The main game is being displayed on the top screen, with the bottom screen being used to provide additional information to players. In general, the bottom screen wasn't as useful as it could have been, but it really varied from game to game. It was very important for some games, like Animal Crossing for example, and would also help on the Switch. Think about it. In New Horizons, even with the sound cue, it's sometimes quite difficult to spot those balloons in the sky. If the Switch had a second screen, then it could have been used to show the sky and we'd have been able to easily identify that a balloon was flying in the air and where it was. It would have even helped with those pesky meteor showers. And that's just for one game. For Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, it could have been used to showcase a map of the dungeon or area. In RPG games like Fire Emblem Three Houses, it could have been used to show the status of your team and where they were on the battlefield. The opportunities are endless for the second screen, and if anyone can figure out how to use it effectively, it's Nintendo. They're not just going to forget how the DS and 3DS worked, so we trust them completely. Of course, since the second screen wasn't a part of the Switch from launch, a lot of older games most likely won't have support for a second screen. But if Heskin's leak turns out to be true, games will slowly make use of the second screen over time. Who knows, maybe older Switch games actually will get updated to support the second screen. That being said, we doubt the bottom screen will have 3D capabilities. If they do end up releasing a Switch DS, we expect Nintendo to keep things simple with the console and to give it the same 720p touchscreen display. As for whether or not you could dock the Nintendo Switch DS, well, we seriously doubt you'll be able to, because as far as we know, no company has plans for a two-screen TV. Meaning that second screen won't be displayed on a TV, or at least we seriously hope Nintendo isn't working on a two-screen TV for the Switch. That would be a bit much. If Nintendo really wants to sell this second screen as a major feature, then the console won't be dockable. What we can expect is a console more similar to the Switch Lite than the regular Switch. Yep, that's right. If this leak is true, it doesn't support the idea of a Nintendo Switch Pro at all. But what it does do is indicate that a unique yet all too familiar clamshell-type handheld console may be joining the Nintendo lineup in 2020 or 2021 with the Switch DS. We're all for it as a mid-tier option for gamers interested in the Nintendo Switch. But how well the second screen will be used and what processor the console will use remains to be seen. Only time will tell if there's any truth to this rumor. And that's everything we know about a possible Nintendo Switch DS. What do you think about all this? Are you interested in a dual-screen Switch or prefer the current single-screen setup? Let us know in the comments section down below, and don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer for more gaming videos. Thanks for watching.